Hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Talks. This is episode 63. And for me, it's a special episode because I have two great people that I've known for a long time here locally, straight out of our local association affiliate of NAA, WMFHA, as we affectionately call it, or Washington Multifamily Housing Association. Sloane Cerbana and Tricia Johnson are two people that work there, but also they're best friends. I mean, they've worked together for a while now. And Sloane was there first, 14 plus years at the association, almost one of the first people to work there, not quite, but almost, but been tied to the association since its beginning through marriage. And we'll get into that at some point, I'm sure. But then you have Tricia, who joined the show, probably never thought, hey, I'm going to work in the apartment industry. She had a long career before that in sales and other places. And then she jumped right into doing events. And I don't even know that she had official experience in that. But if you saw her events, you wouldn't know that because they're fantastic. And everybody in our association so much appreciates the work she puts in for that. Sloane started in education for the association and then has most recently moved into being the VP of operations for us. And we've grown significantly. Again, another great topic of our conversation today. So we're going to get right into it with them. But before I do, I'm your host, Evan Happel. I'm with Community Boss. And we have some great solutions to help manage the physical spaces of your community, whether it's your parking, amenities, or mapping. We got you covered. We can generate some great revenue. But in the end, it's all about the resident and making it a better living experience for them. So without further ado, I bring Tricia and Sloane to the show.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Guys. Thanks for being here. Again, so happy to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
I know I've known you guys for a while. And actually, when it comes to Sloane, I have known her before I really even understood what this industry was. I was just a helper within the industry in the sense of I was living on site at a community, doing resident events, just trying to be a good neighbor and doing that with my wife in Des Moines, Washington. And then I would occasionally help out at these events with this organization called WMFHA. And I was like, cool, it's associated with what I'm doing, kind of, sort of. But my boss at the time, Kimberly Lee, she was like, yeah, we need volunteers. Come join the fun at the Emerald Awards and do all the registration and all the things. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm a young guy. I'll do it. And then I remember actually sitting in the green room eating dinner. And then Sloane comes in and I'm just like, who are these people?
Oh, that's funny.
And here I am.
Is that, Evan, I remember you, and I mean, honestly, Community Northwest and what eventually became Apartment Life was a huge part of Emerald Awards and its beginning, its origin story, right? Like we had such a small staff. I think this is pre-Tricia days, right? Mm-hmm. This was like 3 people. We never could have had an elegant, like a nice reception and enough people to work, registration or check-in and without our friends from what was Community Northwest at the time. So right. I definitely remember that. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. But for some reason or another, I stuck in the apartment industry and grew in it myself. But along the way, gotten to know you guys better. And I so appreciate you guys and getting to know you over the years. And that's why I want you on the show, because you guys are great. And you're just a great, combo. People don't know this, but we do something called WMFHA Wednesdays with our association. We haven't done it as much lately, but in the past, we used to do them quite frequently. And you guys are known to get on camera and do it in one take, from what I know.
Wonders.
Exactly. So it's kind of crazy because if you actually go back and watch these shows, these two literally just ping pong off of each other like it's nothing. And I'm just like, there's no way you did that in one take. But yes, they did. And it was super entertaining. And you guys are a great match together when it comes to just how you work together. And I mean, we're going to get into all of that, but working with your friend is not necessarily always a good idea. So,
Well, I mean, you kind of talked about how we both started at the industry, and honestly, it was literally like a take your friend to work day for me. We were, again, this was over 10 years ago, and I needed help at EdCon. And Tricia is, you know her, she's a sharp, savvy, detail-oriented person. And so I have lots of wonderful friends, but I knew I could ask her to do this thing I needed at EdCon. It was really managing a real estate clock hours class. It was a hot mess, to be honest, to do, but I needed somebody to do that. And she was really kind of rethinking what she wanted to be doing at the time. And so I asked her to do that one thing. And I told her I couldn't pay her. I would buy her coffee and she would have all my gratitude. And she did that and did a great job. And then it was kind of like, helping out a little here and there. And then we were able to hire her as a temp associate in some transition that we had at the association. So she started just doing that. And then once the new AE started at the time, I just begged and pleaded. I was like, whatever we can do to just hire her, like we have to have her. And that was it. So take your friend to work day turned into a 10 plus years. And we, as you mentioned, no way we would be where we are without her very, just her wand of excellence over everything that she does in regards to events for our association. So we're the better for it.
But you're right. I mean, it's a conversation that needs to be had. As much as we have fun together, it's not always easy to work with a friend, and you need to be able to sit down and have that kind of adult conversation about, this all sounds really great. It's unicorns and puppy dogs, right? Until we have differing ideas or something stressful happens, and what do we do then? So we just had that conversation about, can we do this? We felt like our work ethic, the things that we thought about that were important for working for an association were all the same, but how will we handle conflict? And our friendship was the most important thing. We didn't want that to go by the wayside because we decided to work together.
Absolutely.
And I think also leaving space for each other's differences to flourish, right? Like we don't approach, we always say jokingly, we share a brain. That's why things come out of our mouth at the exact same time. We do a bit, but we have differences also in the way you see things or perceive things. But, I think that's where, a cultivated trust. And, we always say, I know whether I agree with something Tricia has said or an idea, I know her heart is what's best for the association and our members always. And that's mine too. So I just trust that, right? And just well, I wouldn't do it that way, or I saw that differently, but I know where it comes from, and I trust that 7 days a week.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's actually, it comes through in everything. And you guys, when you're at events and everything else, it's so cool to see you guys working together and see how you do work well together. But it would need to have a conversation in the beginning. And if you didn't, it probably wouldn't have gone as well because you didn't open that dialogue in the beginning. So
for sure.
Super important. But before we get into it anymore, I want to know a few things about you guys. Okay. So there's a few questions that I ask everybody, and they're going to be asked of you, and they're super serious. So get ready for it.
I doubt that.
All right. But first question I always ask everybody is, when it comes to building community, each of you, how is it that you go about it in your personal and professional lives?
That's good.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Sure. I think for me, I've always been a relationship person. And so it's just about getting to know the people around me, whether that's my neighborhood, the people that my kids have gone to school with that I am in community with, their sports teams, church, work, whatever. Is just trying to get to know people and understanding what makes them tick, what sets them off. And I think at the heart of it is what Sloane and I talked about in terms of our relationship is believing the best in someone. And so I think if you go at it that way, then it should all turn out good, right? that you're going to have differences with people. You're not going to have all the same ideologies, but that's what makes us unique. And that's what makes us all special. So I think that's probably it for me.
Yeah. Similar, right? I think also something that's always been important to me is intentionality. So in my personal life, people that and I have a very diverse group of friends, right? I, have certain things that are important to my core, I guess, to my compass for me and my husband, our family. But not all of our friends are like that. But I think it's important to, really just, push that out to everyone. And I think there should always be room at your table. That's something that's always been important in our home. I mean, Tricia knows this. Our door is open and it's full with people from all walks of life all the time. Professionally, I really see it the same way, being very intentional. I think, in my new role here at the association, we have 10 people, Evan, that work here now. You've been here long enough to know that that's crazy.
Yeah,
and as many as that seems, when you've been around when it was such a small team, we're still so busy. So it's very important to us that every member of this team also feels like they don't just work here, they belong here. They're contributing with confidence. They're equal contributor to the growth and success of WMFHA. And so I think intentionality for me is just key, both personally and professionally. You have to notice people, notice things about them, ask questions about things that they say, listen when they talk.
Mm-hmm. They want to be seen.
Yeah, everybody wants to be seen, noticed, have a place. So for me, that's my heart personally and professionally. It's not really different.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. I mean, like you said, people want to be seen. They want to feel like, even though they may be different in different ways, that they still matter, and that people are, regardless of their beliefs or whatever, still have a place in a space, right?
So, for sure.
So that's great. All right. Next question is, when it comes to hospitality and having people over for a meal, how would you convey, I guess, love and just inviting them in, creating a setting through food? How would you do that?
Well, we like food.
We do like food. And we like to entertain.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I'm actually getting ready to remodel my kitchen, not the whole thing, but the main space, because even though my kids are older now and they're not living at home, we love to have people over. We love to entertain. I love to cook. I love just to, I don't know, put my arms around somebody, and sometimes that's with food and beverages and stuff like that. So I love to entertain.
Yeah.
Good. Our family culture, my husband is from Hawaii, and very food is central to their culture and to gathering. And I would say, it happens a lot. And again, the gatherings are large. I mean, just my immediate family is fairly large. And I wish my kids could answer this question for you, because they would always say they always know they can bring one. Like, bring that person that doesn't have a place to go. So we end up with absolute strangers in our house all the time. And it's just around a bunch of food, right? And for us, it's always very casual. Like, the food doesn't always match, right? If you go to any kind of Polynesian gathering, it's potluck style. Even if I make, something a little more like salad and a meat and this and that, some appetizers, there's noodles and all kinds of things. Mac salad, like all the carbs. But it's always good. And then music starts, and, there's just people in different parts of the house gathering and talking. So, I mean, it's very similar. Love having people over, love welcoming people, and love to be the place that somebody knows they can go to.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like your son just chimed in. Are you guys seeing the comment?
Oh my gosh, no, we're not seeing it. Which son? Right. She's got one, I've got two.
Yeah, Gabriel.
Oh, okay. Hi.
No, if you click on the far right, there should be a comments.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Well,
hello, Kai. That is my oldest son.
Okay. That's great. Well, thanks for watching, oldest son. All right. And then my final question would be around the caffeinated beverage of choice. And so I used to ask coffee, but for some reason, not everybody enjoys coffee. So I adjusted it. So I think you guys are coffee. We are in the Northwest. If you don't like coffee here in Seattle, I mean, it's okay. We'll accept you. We'll embrace you, but we'll be having lots of questions. But anyways, what's your favorite coffee beverage?
Grande Americano. I mean, I'm pretty simple, just black
with a little cinnamon sprinkled on top.
So I don't do pumpkin spice.
No.
And so I don't do any flavors, but in the fall, what makes me feel like I'm part of the cool kids club is I get a little cinnamon in my Americano, only from like September 1 through December. I can only drink hot coffee when it's cold, and I can only drink iced coffee when it's warm, and never the two shall mix. So
we differ a little bit there, because I can drink iced coffee in the winter. I do have to have a little flavoring in my coffee, and partly that's because my husband makes coffee that is so incredibly hair on your chest black that I can't drink it. I have to put a little bit of something. So a little bit of cream, a little bit of sugar-free vanilla, something like that is mine. But it used to be Diet Coke, but I sort of broke myself of that habit.
All right. We've had a few Diet Cokes, actually. Lots of chais, lots of other teas. But yeah, there's been a number of drinking Coke in the morning. And I'm just like, I mean, a drink is a drink.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know that I'd start with bubbles in the morning, you know.
Mackenzie, she's a Diet Coke drinker. I used to. Oh, bubbles.
You said bubbles. That's a different thing.
A different
a different kind of bubble, right? Yeah. I didn't mean like, you know, bubbles, but
yeah.
Because sometimes we need that in the morning here. You need to know that.
Okay.
Champagne variety.
But that's called mimosas, and they're completely those are socially acceptable because you added juice.
So I will say I have a funny coffee story about Sloane, because as our team has grown, we're no longer the pod people, because we go through too many pods. So Katrina was like, that's too many pods for this office.
Too expensive.
Yeah.
So we started making a big giant pump pot of coffee. Well, Sloane, I've gotten used to my husband's very dark coffee. You can see through Sloane's coffee. And finally, Jason said, I can't do it anymore. Like, he was the newest person and he was trying to be all nice. And he's like, I can't drink Sloane's coffee. So she is been thrown under the bus for the weak coffee. And we've made her add a third scoop to the pot because her coffee was too weak.
Yeah. I mean,
there can be worse things in life than being the weak coffee maker. But now it is the office joke that if I make it, it has to be inspected and all the things. But yeah, so we can think.
I mean, if you're making it for the community, you do have to kind of make it for the majority.
Yes, we did tell her she can add hot water to ours. We can't add more coffee.
Right.
To ours.
Well, that reminds me of when I was in college. I lived in it was a co-op. It was almost like a fraternity, but it was run by the school. And we had different chores we had to do. Well, one of them is wake up. And part of your job was to make coffee for the house. Well, I didn't drink coffee. So I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I just scoop a few scoops. And so I'm sure sometimes it was like super, super dark and like tar and hold a spoon up. Other times it was probably really weak. I had no idea. I had no clue. And then I had kids and I started drinking coffee.
Lots of coffee. Yeah.
I didn't do coffee in college either. I didn't start drinking coffee until after kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Those darn kids. I didn't have a coffee pot. We sure did go buy one though.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, thanks for answering the questions. Thanks for joining all of those that have answered them before you. When it comes to working together, now it's been about 10 years, right?
11.
Tricia just had her 11th anniversary here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was 11. I liked the post. I should know that. 11 years, and congratulations on 11 years. That's a great milestone. You got over the 10-year hump, and now you're just riding off into forever, I guess, until it's not, right? Till retirement comes calling your name. Yeah. And I know that you guys are eyeing that. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And it's you're on the downward towards that, probably.
Well, and not because of age, right?
No, not because of age, because of
we're ready for the next.
Like, embrace like life fully, right?
Yeah, we want to travel.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We both have a couple of pretty cool husbands, and we, wouldn't mind hanging out with them more. And our kids are, getting older and all the things that come with that. So it's coming at some point, but not today. We do sometimes when it's really stressful here, I'll be honest, we go by Judge Jones' office. I'm like, are you coming back tomorrow? Yeah, I'm coming back. Are you coming back tomorrow? Okay, good.
Well, I mean, now that you have a team of 10 and you have people to disperse the the workload to, I'm sure it's feeling a little bit more like, okay, we'll stick around a little longer.
Well, for sure. I mean, definitely we have a great team. I will tell you, there are times I'm like, why does it still feel so busy? But part of it is we're also cultivating and developing a team of people, right? That's something we didn't do before.
Doing more.
And when you have new people, you guys, I don't know how many of our new people you met, but they have amazing ideas and fresh outlook. And so we're developing new and creating new and looking at things differently. And those all take time and energy, and they're all good things, right?
Yeah.
And so, and occasionally some of the new folks will be like, how did you do this? And we just like, no idea how we did it before, but we just did it. But yeah, we're still
with your hair on fire, but you did it.
Our hair's on fire sometimes.
You don't know any different. You're just like head down, getting it done.
Just get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't understand. So often I always, and I think everyone was like, how are they doing this? Because so many of our events and everything were done with such excellence and with such a small staff. I mean, I've done enough events to know that it's not easy to do just an event, right? If you're going to do it with any quality. So you can't just throw things together if you want people to come back.
Right. Yeah.
So, but the other thing that you guys do is you have committees and stuff, and then you got more ideas and you got crazy people on your committees. I don't know where you get these people, but I don't.
Evan. So we should take this opportunity to thank you, Evan, for your years of service on committees too.
Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure. I'm sorry for all the ideas I throw at you guys. And
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they politely nod at some of them, and I'm okay with that. That's been my life. I just pump things out, and not everybody agrees, and that's okay. That's fine.
But there's also some really great ideas that have come from our members, for sure.
Oh yeah,
I was just gonna say that's the beauty of association and committees, is that some of the best things we do came from you all, right? And our job is to get out of the way, right? Like we have the guardrails of like kind of what are the parameters of like risk management and budget and things like that.
Does it fall into our buckets?
Yeah, but inside of that is like
topics.
Yeah.
And I think that came out of the supplier group, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, our VIP event came out of the supplier group.
Yeah. No, it's good to get ideas from other people. And I mean, even for myself, it's like part of the reason why I like talking to people every week that are from across the country in different parts of the industry is I'm learning so much. Like, I feel like it's cheating a little bit, to be honest, because I'm just like, all right, what am I going to learn from this person this week? And gives me another perspective and things to share with people. So it's always good to talk to other people, for sure.
Yeah.
So when it comes to where you guys are at as an association, being that you've been a part of it for so long, Sloane, you've literally seen from cradle to, we're not in the grave, so we won't say that, but cradle to current state of the association. We'll say that. Yeah. But I mean, you saw it be born because Greg was a part of that whole group. Greg is her husband, Cerbana, who is also in the industry, been in it for a while. But what was it like when you first were seeing it be born? Like, you were like, what, this thing that he's giving a whole bunch of energy to, probably?
Yeah. Well, no, I love this question, and I'll tell you why, because I don't know how many people are going to end up seeing this, but especially for our emerging leaders, those that are new, that are deciding whether this is the industry for them, I would share this with you. In the early days, my husband was a founding board member, and it was fledgling, right? It was 100% volunteer. It was people in the industry asking their friends to believe in this thing, join together, we're better together, strength in numbers, all the things, right? And at the time, I had stepped aside from my career and was raising a young family. And we were both broke. We were broke. We had $0. And he would write these checks to this place called WMFHA. And I'd be like, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, trust me, babe, this is a solid investment. This is important work. And at the time he was a regional manager and, starting to do okay, but we were a single income family and all of this, but he just knew that like he needed to pay it forward personally, right? Like his company was supporting his efforts and his time to be involved, but he personally knew that he had to kind of chip in there. So in the beginning, I had some mixed feelings about this WMFHA thing because I didn't really understand it. And then obviously fast forward a few years when that board at the time asked me to just help them out. It was supposed to be a temporary situation to kind of do some consulting.
I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah. My background was training and development. It was like, we'd like to start our education department. Could you help us out? Yeah, I could do that for a little bit. And that was almost 16 years ago. So so then it was small. And then even when I started, like I bought my own office supplies. There were times I wasn't sure we could make payroll to be paid. I mean, it was very lean. And I remember Carrie Anderson telling this, like we would have an event, but the last event would pay for the deposit on the next event. Like we were just so lean and so just scrappy. And there was, I would say between like years 5 and 8, I joined at year 5. I feel like every one of those years was a tipping point. We could have either failed and not moved forward, or we could have, or what we did do was move forward with great momentum, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but I think that watching that happen, the reason we went the direction we did was because of our people, because of the committees that were committed and gave up their time, because of the board of directors that would not give up, because of, the gritty, scrappy, tiny little staff that was like, we got to make this happen. So, and then now we are a top 10 affiliate for NAA. We're number 6. And we've won a lot of awards. And we make payroll every pay period, which is good.
That's always good.
And I don't buy my own office supplies anymore. So, I think just what I would share with people is whether it's an association, which is different than, your business, or your business, your property, your organization, it takes grit. And what I would say is don't lose that when you get bigger. Yeah. And Tricia and I talk about this all the time. When we hired our 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th person, was we can't lose that small staff grittiness, that like all hands on deck. We all do what it takes all the time. We all have to be committed to the member, to the success. And it takes attention to keep that as a focus. It's very easy as you get bigger to kind of get siloed off and like, I do this and you do that. And
that's not my job.
That's not my job. And we will die a slow death if that's not where we go. And I would say any organization would.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if people just say it's not my job, like this wasn't my job. I definitely wasn't a host of the show. So,
right? Yeah.
But it's fun. So I'll continue. Well, thanks for sharing that, because I think it is easy to have things be challenging or not. I mean, I lived the life. It's funny when you talk about the early stages of WMFHA, because that's like, it like brings back flashbacks of my time with Community Northwest, especially, and how, when I became executive director, it was a pivot moment of like, are we going to survive? Mm-hmm. And I was like all in, the only income in my household. Yeah. And I'm working for this nonprofit where we're like, wait, was that a good idea? Like, well, I'm still here. We're alive. It's all good. And it's exposed me to this industry. So I am thankful, because I wouldn't know you guys if it weren't for taking steps like that as well. So I'm thankful for it. And, I think some people are afraid of taking those jobs that involve a little grittiness, a little, putting the time in, but you have to also believe in what you're doing. And if it's just a job, then you're not going to make it. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So So when it comes to where you guys are at, you mentioned briefly about the fact that you guys have grown, that you're number 6 affiliate in the United States. What does that mean for context?
Yeah. It's about our size of our organization, our number of members. So it's number of doors, number of units that are in our membership. So when I started, we looked at this recently. I think it was under 100, just under 100,000 when I joined. And we have 330,000 members now. So apartment units in our membership. And then, our membership obviously is by buckets. So we've got the management companies, we have the apartment communities, and then we have, like you, our supplier partners. So that has been tremendous growth for us. But by NAA standards, it's by our doors.
Got it.
Yeah, you'll hear a few numbers like Mackenzie just said, number 6 and moving up. We're number 5 in total members. So they count members as like memberships. And then the number 6 is number of units. So there's some like, we're never going to get to number 1 because #Texas. We're never going to be that big, but Arizona, we're coming for you. Like that's our next milestone.
Yeah. I mean, and our area just continues to grow too. And it's not like every apartment community is necessarily a member. So for all you that are out there that are listening and aren't members of WMFHA, what are you waiting for? Why are you sitting back? We're just waiting to bring you into the family. So come on in. All right. And then not only are you guys growing, and this last year, when it comes to suppliers, we grew substantially as well, which was fantastic. And I was a part of that whole drive and all that and getting more people into the membership. You guys are also just doing a great job. You've been awarded a number of awards. And I mean, Sloane, you had an individual award, last year? Educator of the Year, was that the name of it? Okay. Which, good job.
Yes.
I know that you deserve this honor. And then you're like, I will bow out and Jason, come and take over.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you don't know Jason yet, you will. Jason Lockridge is our new career development manager. And you are going to forget my name soon because he's just incredible at what he does in terms of career development. He has like the heart and passion. Like WMFHA couldn't have a better person have stepped into that role. So yeah, I mean, I'm just his number 1 fan. I just follow him around now and he lets me, he's very kind and he'll let me still help with stuff because I love education so much. It's really hard for me to let go of it. But the education and career development at WMFHA is in the most amazing hands.
Yeah. And I mean, now you have basically 3 people that all can contribute to the molding of that area of WMFHA. Yourself, Jason, and then also Hannah.
Okay. Yeah, she's our events and education coordinator.
Right. So making sure everything runs smoothly, everybody has a good experience when it comes to their classes and things like that, especially on site. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. Again, this was all Sloane's job like 2 years ago, I think.
Well,
and now 3 people.
They can teach together too, which is really awesome.
No, that's awesome. All right. And then the other awards that you guys have received, I know during COVID, you did a fantastic job of really engaging the membership and making sure everybody still felt like they were a part of the association, even though we couldn't do anything in person. So I know that you guys had the opportunity to win an award. And what was that one?
Community engagement, member engagement.
Okay.
So we worked really hard over COVID just to make sure that our members were still staying engaged. I mean, obviously on one hand, we wanted them to still pay their dues, but we really needed we were all going through such a weird time and we wanted to still provide them with resources, whether it was, through all the changes that were happening legislatively and legally, but also giving them opportunities to still see their WMFHA family. And so we were hosting like Tapas and Topics online, and we did Emerald Awards virtually because we didn't want to not have that event when it was so important to really acknowledge the work being done by our on-site professionals during COVID, right? So it was super important to us. So that was a really special award because of the time frame that it happened in also.
Right. Well, and I would say that you guys didn't really miss a beat. I'm sure there was a moment of like, what the heck are we supposed to do now? But by and large, I would say that it didn't feel like it necessarily. Once you guys started doing these different events, you made sure that they felt like it was a part of WMFHA. You
Yeah.
branded it appropriately. You tried to do just about everything as normal, just in a virtual sense. So
Sure.
I definitely, as a person that was observing and participating, appreciated that and the ability to still connect with people.
Yeah, I mean, like anything, we just couldn't be afraid to try something. So there were some hits and there were some maybe slight misses. We did some
didn't know
things we
that.
never would have thought of doing. We did a cooking class, we did yoga, but people loved just any opportunity to get together with their friends.
Right. Yeah. No, it was great. It was great. And then, so was there 2 other awards you guys have received?
So yeah, we've also won
Affiliate
of the year.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And that was through COVID too.
Right. Right.
So that was really special for us.
Yeah.
And then we've also won the Community Service Award, which that one, probably is the one that means, Affiliate of the Year is pretty cool. But the Community Service Award was very special to me just because as a big association, we want to make sure, to Sloane's point before, that you're paying it forward. And that is not only cultivating your people, but it's giving back to our larger community at hand. And so we've been very intentional in our efforts to do good with the resources that we have, with the money that we have, with the opportunities that we have to serve other nonprofits that need help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've seen those only grow. I know you've had a few records set in the recent past, I guess, when it comes to some of your events and charitable causes.
Yeah.
I know you had last year, was it the Giving Gala, hit a record?
Over $100,000 in one night. Yeah.
And the year prior was a record, and that was like,
it was like 60 or 70,000.
So we blew it out of the.
We actually raised $114,000 this last December. So
yeah,
we always laugh because my internal goal is just to beat it by $1, like so that we can say that we beat it every year, both with the chili cook-off, which is coming up at the end of this month, and then the holiday giving gala coming up in December. And it's funny because Mark Davis, he's a member of ours, and he helps do a lot of the emceeing for us. He always gets up there and I'll say, okay, the goal is, 101,000. He's like, okay, our goal today is 140,000. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I'm starting to sweat. But we have been very fortunate. Our members are very, very giving. It's not us, it's our members that are, raising that money. We just are providing the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. And what are some of the charitable causes that you guys support?
Yeah, so there's 4 main ones that we do a lot of work with. Child Haven is the benefactor of our holiday giving gala. The Domestic Abuse Women's Network, or DAWN, is the benefactor of the chili cook-off. And then we also work with Rebuilding Together Seattle and Move for Hunger / Northwest Harvest. Those are kind of the 4 big ones.
Right. And Mackenzie, she
yeah.
kindly shared and I'll just go ahead and share that to the screen. So chili cook-off coming the end of this month.
Yep.
I am so bummed about this event because I can never go because I coach soccer and soccer is always on that day.
You bring the team after their game.
Well, if I didn't coach basically 3 teams, I would totally do that.
Okay. Well, just look for opportunities, because as we get close to that event, you'll see a lot more from Mackenzie, and there'll be opportunities to actually donate to that cause, even if you're not able to be there.
Absolutely. And who benefits from chili cook-off?
Domestic Abuse Women's Network, DAWN.
Okay. So if you are even not in this area,
for sure,
and you want to give to something, jump on the website and they will gladly take your money.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to mention too, over the years, Tricia and the community service team committee has been very strategic in how they choose the partners. Dawn, we've obviously partnered with for so long. Bob Frediani back in the day brought that event to us. He had a personal story of domestic abuse that was very important to him. But between Dawn and Child Haven really benefits or works with families to kind of end generational abuse and trauma and tries to reintact the family. and equip parents that maybe didn't have the tools growing up with tools to have a better family life. Those are stories that are playing out in our apartment homes every day. And so we were very intentional in choosing those groups because we're seeing that play out. It happens everywhere, but we see it a lot in multifamily dwellings. So we're really believing it.
There are so many great causes out there, right? And we want to support them all, but really it's about going, instead of a mile wide and an inch deep, it's a mile deep. And so we really vetted organizations that had some sort of connection to what we do. That's our core mission. And that's why we picked the ones that we did. So.
Yeah, that's great. Well, again, if you are free on which
October
day is
28th.
it?
Saturday, October 28th.
October 28th. Chili cook-off is ready to be attended. Come in your best costume, bring the kids, super kid friendly, all the chili that you could ever eat in one place, which is probably a good and a bad thing, but nonetheless, one day a year, it's okay to do that, right?
Yeah.
And there's always really good chili. Like these people have some good chili recipes. There's a contest.
Well, it's funny. We're probably going to say the same thing. Some of our members have chili cook-offs at their business to determine whose chili will be at ours.
Yeah.
Right. So this is legit.
And if you're not a chili person, I would say it's just as much fun to walk around and see how creative our competitors get because they decorate their booths in different themes. And we have had everything you can imagine, right? I anticipate some Barbie booths this year.
There may be some Barbie booths.
But just so many. Oh, yay. Emily says she'll be there dressed as a chili pepper.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, Emily's one of our volunteers.
The team has a pretty cool, last year we were Dalmatians with Cruella.
Okay.
This year, it's something else.
You have to come and see.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, the whole team, I saw the pictures, again, wasn't there, unfortunately, but all of you were dressed like puppy dogs.
Yes, we were Mackenzie's Dalmatians.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, she was Cruella, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
We even got Ryan McKinster into a Dalmatian costume.
I mean, you guys have to keep stepping it up. You kind of have a different crew again this year. You have some new folks in the mix, so even bigger group too. So you guys got to bring your A game now.
Oh,
we will.
And I think this is this the first year for Chili Cook-Off for our new
for Nick?
Yeah, for Nick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got to jump in on the fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny thing, Nick, he moved all the way from California and he decided to live like down the street from me. I don't know where he lives.
Yeah,
we're all kind of neighbors.
We tried to get him into Maple Valley, but he went to Covington.
I know.
That's okay.
Just bringing it to Covington. It's a great place to be, here in the Cove. Yep. We got some other people. Actually, JFK, she lives nearby me too, from the area as well in the industry. But anyways, we have a lot of people. I've run into people at workout and like probably sporting events for sure. Actually, had people on my team that were in the industry. So it's definitely fun to be in the industry, know people, and then intermingle in the community too. So super fun. All right. So when it comes to the association, where are you guys headed? Like what's up? What do people not know that they should know in this coming year? And I know that I had the privilege of being a part of kind of the planning process last year for the next few years and goals. And that was a fun thing to be a part of. I was super humbled to be even like considered to be a part of that because I'm not a board member or anything. So I don't know how that worked out. But anyways, thankful. But it was cool to just be a part of that process. So what do we have ahead for us in WMFHA?
Well, I mean, I think our first biggest thing is the big move that we're doing with our education conference. So we are moving downtown Seattle to the big convention center, which is exciting and terrifying all at the same time. That event has just grown so much. We've really loved our time at Maidenbauer. They've been great, but we need more seats. for students and people to attend that event. And so we're really, really working hard on that event now to make sure it's follows the WMFHA standard as far as, delivering great content in a good setting, making it a good experience for not only our students, but our exhibitors and our sponsors, but providing more. Now that we've got this bigger space, what can we bring? The EdCon committee and career development have been really hard working on what are some new things that we could bring to this event that show that it's stepped up its game with the move.
Yeah, well, let's manifest something. So it's theoretical. I mean, how much bigger is this space that we could grow into?
Oh,
how many more people could we host?
A double easily.
It's the sky's the limit, and that was kind of the purpose of moving to the convention center. Right. Having said that, I will tell you, like we mentioned earlier, we really feel like EdCon as an event has a very special feel to it, right? Even with 1,600 people last year, it was the place that you catch up with somebody you haven't seen since last year. It's that connected place. It's high energy. There's a lot of like company spirit that comes there because they're all coming together. And our whole team is committed to not losing that. So our theory, and Tricia and I talk about this a lot with events, is it doesn't always have to be bigger to be better. And so you'll one of the things we've even talked about, though, is that WMFHA is a state organization. So we have volunteers and an executive council and events that happen in Spokane, in Tri-Cities, and we're going to be moving into Southwest Washington with more programming. So it doesn't necessarily need to be bigger, but more reaching, right? We want to be servicing all of our members. And so EdCon may never be bigger than 1,700 people, but we want it to be, when people come, we want it to be like, I look forward to that event all year.
Yeah,
and that's our goal.
Yeah, no, and it's a great event, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I know the goal isn't necessarily to be gigantic, but I mean, come on, we have plenty of space now. Let's add all those new suppliers that
we definitely are doing that. We're adding, the trade show space, as far as number of exhibitors, will be 25% larger so that we don't have to turn away people that really want to be there. But yeah, Sloane hits on a good point. Our desire really is to make sure that we're reaching all of our members, regardless of where they are. And so we're adding some new things in Eastern Washington in the way that we serve them. We're starting, another council down probably in the Tri-Cities area and getting them really on board so that they feel like they're getting as much out of the membership as, the King County core where we are.
Yeah, and that is a challenge because, other than the King County area, so to speak, by and large, we're pretty spread out as a state, and it makes it pretty challenging to have these events and to kind of build those smaller pockets. Because even Eastern Washington, you have the Tri-Cities, which is probably one of the bigger pockets, and then Spokane as well. But then Yakima can kind of tag on to like Tri-Cities.
Lake, we have Leavenworth, Wenatchee. Yeah. That area is really booming, and so we actually had
our first event,
a networking event in that area this year, and we had a great little turnout. So awesome. I think all of that to say it's not always bigger. It's just we're always looking at like what's the bigger impact for a WMFHA member, right? For a WMFHA membership in general.
And giving an opportunity to people to get to know those that are in the same industry locally. Because
for sure.
You almost have to shift your mindset as like not all the events at these different places are gonna like seem successful in the same way.
Right.
Because
that's one of the things that we've really focused on is we can't just take what we've done here and say, okay, we're going to do the same set of events in Spokane or the same set of events in Tri-Cities. There are events that we do in the Spokane area that we don't do anywhere else. We do Tapas and Topics here, which is that evening networking event. We do Coffee Connection over there because that works better as a morning event over there. So it's getting to know our members where they are there and asking them, what do you want out of us? What do you want the event to look like? Not, this is what we're going to do for you.
Right.
And I want to go back to something you said, Evan, when you said you got to be part of our strategic planning event and you don't know why you got invited. Well, you got invited because you're a member who's been involved. And so when we do those, we do them every few years. we invite key stakeholders, like who has had a voice in what we're doing and who would like to contribute, and we invite them. But when you talk about what's next for us, it's what our members ask of us, right? And at the end of the day, the 10 people that work in these offices serve at the will of our board of directors and our members. And so I think it's going to be more of the same. I think we do have some exciting things next year that are new, that are great ideas that have come out of committee and some of our new staff, and we can't wait to announce those soon. But it's just going to be getting deeper. I will say, our government affairs team is bigger than it's been. We have Carter Nelson on staff now as our public affairs manager. And grassroots advocacy is going to be something we dive deeper into. The associations had a lot of success, and our GA teams had a lot of success in advocating for our members. But we're going to have to do more, and it's going to take some of the people that are watching right now that have never thought they could be involved in things like that. And Carter's going to be instrumental in that. It's a passion of hers. And so I think that's a next level thing for WMFHA for sure, is grassroots advocacy and people that work in this industry understanding their place and their voice with our lawmakers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I mean, and it's a challenge because so many people hear like government political stuff and they're like, no, thanks, I'm good. Like, let's keep this fun. Let's but it's important,
right? It could stop being fun real fast if we don't pay attention to some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And like, it's really a confusing situation. You got topics like fair housing, you got topics like rent control and things like that, and people don't really understand what it is, and when you come into this industry and you're new, you don't understand what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you have these things coming, people probably assume certain things like, oh, that's good for everybody, but maybe it's really not. And until we get educated about it,
right, exactly,
we don't know any better, right? So the trend is not to home ownership anymore. It's like everybody's renting. So the people that are in the industry, that are working in the industry, are probably also living in the industry. So you knowing what is the benefits of the different, getting behind activism and the government decisions and political stuff only benefits more as you get involved, because that's where you live.
Right. And you don't have to be like this major advocate or activist, but what you do need to be is be informed, right?
Totally.
So that when people are asking you questions, you know how to respond, and you know why it maybe isn't a good thing, or it is, either way. So.
Yeah. We were just having this discussion, I think, in the marketing committee, because we had a mixture of people, and we're just, trying to understand how can we better communicate or, give suggestions, not our place, but just help kind of brainstorm how do we get the message out in a way that's palatable. People will listen. They'll actually, want to at least take bites of it. Right.
Join the conversation, right? Yeah. I think that's our goal. When I say grassroots, is we just want people to feel equipped to join the conversation with whatever voice they have, right? But to have the information, and we want to be the conduit of that so that they can make informed decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for adding that. And I'm just excited for where WMFHA is headed, to the continued growth, to be a part of it locally. It's been fun to see also just some of the guests that I've had on Boss Talks that have also been recent instructors. You had Marcy French just a week ago, all the way from Florida here. She did 2 weeks of training, I believe.
Yeah, she did our CAM class. And I see Ishia Shepherd is on, I think, right now. I love her. I met her last year at a training for mental health first aid facilitators. So Ishia is one of from that cohort, and she's just an amazing person. And I know she submitted a presentation for EdCon. So who knows, you might see her out here too, but we're making friends everywhere.
Absolutely. Yep. Ishia, she got on the show just a few months ago for Boss Talks. And I know when it comes to the mental health first aid, that's a big topic and a lot of interest, I think, from people. And that'll just continue to grow. Been a number of people that have been on the show talking about that as well in that program. Kendra Butterfield, you probably know her because you probably went through the same training as her. But, a lot of people The more we can share that message and that resource, the better, I think. And it's on the NAA website, I believe.
Well, it's also here.
We're going to be teaching it.
Yeah, I am a certified instructor, and so we have a sold out workshop already, and then another one that's almost sold out in November. Ebony Parks with Mercy Housing will be coming out to co-facilitate that with me. And that will continue to be in our lineup as offerings. I mean, we could have a whole Boss Talks, and well, you have on mental health in the industry, but it's important. We get calls about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a number of companies that have reached out and asked if we could just do one for their company, which we're working that out. So it's really important. And that's not just this industry. We're people navigating this space with other people, and mental health is an issue. It's a thing, right? And we need some tools.
Yeah. Can you I know I've talked about it in the past, but can you give it a very brief overview of what mental health first aid even is, so people understand?
So I use this example. Tricia's going to be tired of hearing it, but this is the best way that I can explain it, because I almost passed on this opportunity myself, because I just thought, I'm not a therapist. That's not for me. But the way I explain it is, if you were riding your bike and you came across somebody else who'd been riding their bike and they've had a horrible crash on their bike, right? They're bleeding, their bike's broke, maybe their foot's going the wrong direction, whatever. You wouldn't ride past them and think, well, I'm not a doctor, I can't help them, right? Mm-hmm. I think most people would stop, get off, comfort them. They'll call somebody, they'll call 911. Do you have somebody we should call? You would apply pressure where they're bleeding. You would triage in the moment. You would do what you can in the moment with some basic skills, and you would call a professional to help, right? 911 or whatever. Mental health first aid is really like that. We, again, are all dealing with people. Everybody has mental health, right? And some days it's good, some days it's challenging, and sometimes people are in crisis. So mental health first aid training just provides everyday people, like all of us here, the information to be able to kind of navigate, is this person in crisis? Are they just having a challenge? And how can I respond? And then how do I pull in the right resources? And I will tell you, I learned things in that class that like phrases, words that I thought you should never say to somebody who might be in crisis, that you actually should say. There's so much we don't know, or so much stigma around it, that I learned things that I used with a family member not long after I went through the certification, and I was scared to death, but it really helped me. The things I learned helped me in that situation and helped that situation. So that's the best way you can describe it. You're dealing with residents who are having mental health crisis or challenges. They're exploding on you because they can't afford their rent, or you're raising the rent, or they're having a challenge that has nothing to do with you. So we're already doing it. We might as well equip ourselves to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing about that and explaining a little bit more. So as I shared on the screen, Mackenzie, thanks for sharing the link. It's coming up. There is an event. So click on that, sign up for it, get educated on how you can be a resource, not only for your community professionally, but as you just said, like this is for yourself. Like you're going to run into people that are going through crisis in your life. And this is a way to be equipped and how to handle that situation in a way that's helpful, not hurtful.
Right. Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. And if there's anything else that you guys want to plug or talk about in these last few minutes, by all means, the floor is yours.
No, I appreciate Tricia. And I appreciate the other 8 people that work here. I would just say, we have the opportunity, I think, because we've known you the longest, Evan, to visit with you today. We have a unique story being friends and doing this, but we have some incredible talent that works here, and we appreciate our members. And I just think that, if we could all just go into our day with our colleagues, again, like Tricia said earlier, assume the best in each other, lift each other up, fill in the gaps, do the work. Don't work in silos. And I think there's a lot more to be had for our members, for our association. And we are committed to just continuing to do the very best we can day in and day out.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate it. And it shows. And I know that the rest of the membership totally appreciates all the work you guys do, the 2 of you, but the rest of you as well. And on behalf of everyone else, I say thank you.
Thank you.
but I do appreciate you guys and the just ability to be a part of this association. I mean, they joke with me because I on occasion will work from the WMFHA office. Although it's getting more challenging now. You guys keep growing and I don't have a space really, but there's always the conference room. So that always works.
Well, we love it when our members work here.
Yeah, and Evan gets working away and forgets the time, and we're like,
we forget about him.
Leave for the day. We're like, do you want me to give you our key, Evan? Because we're
gonna lock out.
Yeah,
we're out of here. You gonna go? Yeah. No, it's a good reminder. I should leave. I should go home. Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, so I appreciate all the opportunities that I've been given to be active in the association and just all that you guys provide us as suppliers as well, just to be active. And if I can just plug that, if you're a supplier and you just think you're going to pay money to an association and then magically business is going to come your way, magical. I'm here to tell you that is not how this works. Yeah. You need to be an active member. People will get to know you. They will appreciate your energy and time you put into the association, and you'll have opportunities to network and get to know people, and they'll trust you more. So
absolutely. I mean, we say if you paid membership to us and you got all this business, we could charge a lot more for that membership. What we do is we afford you the opportunity to meet other people in a variety of settings or sponsorships or whatever to just build your professional network. And along the way, business happens.
Mm-hmm. Right. And friendships are made.
And friendships.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was Chris Holford years ago that coined the phrase at WMFHA, it's hugs over
not
handshakes. And it's so true. I mean, here we have 330,000 apartment homes in membership, and you come to an event and it's literally like just a gathering of BFFs. Like people are just like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. And where have you been? And it is this very tight, gigantic industry, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Everyone's welcome. That's the other cool thing.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing. So again, thank you for being my guest today, episode 63. So glad to have you guys and look forward to seeing you soon in person. But just like Sloane and Tricia, which I will say you are my first episode having two people on. So thank you for having me. Thank you for jumping in and participating in that way. And then it gives me confidence to have multiple guests on the show, because I have not done that yet. But I appreciate you guys. And just like they jumped in and were guests on the show, you too can be a guest, whether that is you're a local person here in the state of Washington or across the country. The great thing about technology is I can host you wherever you are. So if you have something to share, a story to tell, something about the way you lead, or just want to share with people your passions for this industry, I would love to have you on Boss Talks. So get a hold of me and we can discuss that further. But today it was all about Sloane and Tricia. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for those that watched. And I look forward to having you guys on a future episode. You're always a part of the show when you're in the audience. So jump on every Wednesday, 12 Pacific Standard Time, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Evan.